My today's guest is absolutely incredible individual. She's a 3 times cancer survivor who has started a movement to help other people who are facing cancer and implications from cancer. Deb is a true inspiration. Once one of my guests, Mark Harshberg, said that the only real leadership is inspirational leadership. And when I was talking to Deb, I realized that she's a true leader. She leads by example. She's always energetic, vibrant, smiling, positive individual, and never minding the challenges that she has had in her life. She keeps moving. I wish all of us could be more like Deb. I hope you will enjoy this episode as much as I enjoyed it. We will be inspired by it, and if you will, give me a favor, give a thumbs, like this video, or maybe subscribe to the channel. With that, I wish you a great watch time. Thanks a lot, and God bless. Hello everybody, welcome to Be Yourself Podcast, the podcast on expressing our true selves. Today my guest is Deb Krier. She is a cancer advocate, a communicator, a business podcast host. She builds coalitions, shares knowledges, and empowers cancer survivors and entrepreneurs to take charge of the things that they can control to improve their quality of life. Deb, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, Shirazade, thank you so much. I am so honored to be part of your program. I've listened to some of your other podcasts and they're fabulous. So I am very honored to be a guest.
Thank you greatly. So Deb, first thing comes first. The question for you is, why what you do is important?
I think it's important for us to always know that we are in charge, especially of our healthcare, right? Many years ago, I worked for the American Cancer Society and I worked for an oncologist, which is a cancer specialist. And that was like 35 years ago. And I always remember him saying, the patient is who is in charge. But, so many times when we have a very scary diagnosis, whether it's cancer, whether it's something else, for one thing, our brains shut off. We don't even know what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
But we also, in many cases, defer to our doctors. And part of that is because they're the people, that's their expertise. They've gone to school for many, many years, all of these various things. But it might not be what we want to do. Or it might not be what, our spouse wants us to do or things like that. And so it's so very important to make sure that we are our own advocates. And of course that carries through with anything in life, but, especially in your healthcare, we have got to receive the care and treatments that we want in order for them to be the most effective. And in some cases, people might say, I don't want any treatment. Okay, we have to honor that.
So your choice, the direction of your business has been heavily influenced by your real life experience.
Right.
Would you mind share it with our audience?
Sure. So my business is actually a marketing and PR firm. It's called Wise Women Communications. And I love it. I love my clients because they understand that I have limitations now, all sorts of things. But I think that really did help me when I decided to start my initiative, which is called Trying Not to Die.live. And because it was my business coach who told me, you need to do this. In fact, she shook her finger at me. We were on Zoom and she shook her finger at me and she said, you didn't go through everything you went through without using it to help others.
Yep.
And, clearly I'm shy. I don't like to speak, right? And when she said, hey, you should do this, my first thought was, nah, I don't want to be cancer girl. But I realized that I was already doing that. Doctors would call me in when they would have students. They would call me in when they had new patients, things like that. I am actually, even though I've been going through this for 9 years, I'm still in active treatment. So I go in every 21 days and I'm the person that's wandering around saying, can I get you anything? Do you want some water? I mean, just all of those things. And so it was just kind of a natural extension of the fact that I am a communicator in business, that now I carried this forward. Plus it helps that I know the marketing, the social, all of those various things.
Is there like a mission beyond life that you want to pretty much achieve? I mean, because as a 3 times cancer survivor, I know this, you wrote this on this little questionnaire that I sent you. I think the question of making like a commercial success is secondary. Is that
Right.
true statement? Can you elaborate how you patch
It
together your business and personal aspirations?
My business pays for the initiative, right? I make enough money there that I'm able then to do this.
Okay.
I don't want to be something that is the size of, say, the American Cancer Society or the Komen Foundation. Would it be nice for it to make enough money that it paid the bills for it? Sure.
Break even.
But for me, it's more about the people, right? How many people can I help, as opposed to how much can I sell them? And let's be honest, when someone is dealing with cancer, the expenses can be absolutely, totally overwhelming. So I can't really be asking them for more. I can ask for a little bit, like we sell t-shirts and, some things like that. But as, and those are geared more for somebody to buy for someone else. But, there are so many people, and here in the United States, of course, healthcare is always one of those big issues. A lot of people end up going bankrupt when they have something so catastrophic as large cancer treatments. And so, I'm not really in a place to be asking them for a lot more money.
I'm hearing the notes of maybe, I don't know what's your overall attitude towards the healthcare system in the US, but it seems like from what you said in your initial statement, we have to become our own advocates. We have to understand that there are things that we can't control, and we should not blindly take the course, whatever course the doctor set us on. So can you elaborate more on that? Maybe not only in terms of treatment a disease, but generally following whatever path in life. So you said that you pretty much put it on my questionnaire is you're the one who chooses how to live your life. Can you unpack this?
Right. Let's go back to healthcare. Healthcare is an issue, and it is everywhere. I mean, it's not just unique to the United States, but that's one of the big places where you have to be an advocate. My healthcare has been extremely expensive. I had multiple complications. Like we said, I'm on my 3rd cancer. I'm still in active treatment, all sorts of things. And so I hit the $2 million mark years ago.
Wow.
I have been extremely fortunate that I have very, very good healthcare. I have it through my husband's employer. And I know that is actually kind of unique that I have that. This entire time in 9 years, they denied one out of everything. But a part of that is being your own advocate there. We had decided several months ago to switch treatments, and it was one of these where it was just kind of one of these comedy of errors, right? Where this one thought it had done it and this one thought it had done it. Between the doctor and the insurance and me, everything got all messed up. I had to get on the phone to my insurance company and say, you need to fix this. And, and they said, well, we understand why, but here's why you have it. They said, we want you to have a PET scan, which is a very detailed image, just to make sure there wasn't anything going on, right? And I said, I did. I had that 4 days ago. And she paused and she said, I'm sorry. We will approve this. Don't worry about this. And so, but how many times would people have just gone, oh, and not called? And there have been a couple of times where we have had to call the insurance company, but I know people who have to call all the time, and things, but it's about advocating in other ways too. Our work is a great example of that. Our employer, our clients, whoever, might think, well, you can't do the job right now because you have cancer, right? Either they're not being very empathetic, or they're being overly empathetic and thinking you need to focus on that, right? And so I have one primary client. Love them. I've been with them for over 7 years. And I let them know that this was going on. And, and they didn't say anything like, oh, focus on what you're doing, or maybe you can't do the work. They said, what can we do to help?
Yes.
And of course,
Proactive
that's who
approach.
yes, and that's who you want to be with. But it is scary, to tell your boss, hey, I'm going to be missing so much work, or to be telling your clients, maybe I can't do that. But that's where you have to, again, advocate for yourself and say, I can still do the work. I need the work, right? I need the insurance. I need the money, the income, and advocate for yourself in other ways too, to tell people, I'm really tired. Today's not a good day. I'm not going to be able to do this. Or, I need help. We need assistance, and this happens with everything, right? But we either think people can read our minds, or we don't want to bother, or any of those things. And so we need to advocate and say, hey, Sergey, I need a little help today. Here's how you can help me. Or to just say, I'm good. I'm doing really good today. But it's all about taking charge of yourself and your life.
So this is where the operative word communicator comes on stage. It seems to me that you're talking about not being afraid to voice up your opinion. Whatever it is, under whatever conditions or circumstances. How do people develop this courage to actually speak up their mind, even when they're ashamed, they're fearful? How do we learn to do this? Do you think it's God-given or it's learned?
All of the above. I've always been like this. I'm an only child. My mother was a very powerful woman, who, I saw, her always speaking her mind, things like that. But it can be very scary. I
know.
Telling a doctor, hey, I don't agree with what you're saying. Telling a spouse, whoever, or even worse, there were 2 times during my care where I was treated so badly by a caregiver that we considered contacting the police.
Oh my God.
And so how do you deal with things like that? Where, because you're thinking, but they're a caregiver. Was it my fault? Right? Isn't that one of the big keys? We always want to blame ourselves first.
Yes,
and
guilt.
to realize, no, and one of the things that I thought about, like with the 2 caregivers, was I needed to speak out for those who couldn't speak out. One was I was in a facility. I was in the hospital for a very long time. I developed multiple complications from chemo, and I ended up having to go to a rehab facility to learn to walk again and do all of those various things. And it was also a skilled care facility for senior citizens. It was a very odd mix of patients, right? And I knew that the little 95-year-old might not be able to speak out, to say, hey, that person hurt me. And so that was why I thought I have to be brave. I have to be brave for everybody else. But it was scary. It was very scary because, of course, your first thought is what's going to happen next, right?
Yeah.
But it is hard. And so sometimes it's, think about how is your bravery going to help others?
That's very powerful. How is your bravery going to be beneficial for others? And I think that a lot of times we are operating in this survival mode where we just, our primal brain, it dictates fear. You don't go there because you're going to die. And I think in the modern world, you have to break through this fear pretty much on a daily basis.
Right.
You have to learn how to challenge yourself every single day. It's similar to a muscle that you need to train.
Right.
And regardless of if you're in minority or not, in a way, we're all in minority
Right.
and at some point in our life, right? So unless you learn how to be brave, and voice your opinion, things might not change, and you will always be a victim. Have you seen a lot of victims and the victim attitude among people who have what they think is the lethal disease?
Oh, definitely. And a lot of it is poor me. Why me?
Why me?
What did I do to cause this?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's one of the things that so many people, I had one person, I said I was drinking water with supplements and just bottled water with supplements, sold in every store here. And she's a very natural person, right? And her response was, "Oh my God, do you want to give yourself cancer?" And I responded, and of course that was just her. And I responded, and I said, "Well, maybe I did." I mean, but that wasn't. I mean, I really didn't care. And I still drink the water, right? It doesn't bother me. But it is something that we do think, what did we do to cause this? And, I think we see that an awful lot with, say, abuse, people who are abused in situations. Their first thought is not, why are they doing it? It's what did I do to cause this? And that's very hard to get over,
which is in its core already putting the responsibility on the outside world,
right,
and becoming a victim.
And it's a challenge to get over that. And it's still always going to be there. And I think maybe that's one of the things to recognize is it's okay to feel that because it's normal and it's natural. And, and so feel that and then go, nuh-uh, drinking the water that I drink did not cause me to have cancer, or whatever it is.
Yeah. So I think the question I want to ask you is how to navigate times with uncertainty. Because it seems that a lot of people who are in this situation, who were diagnosed with cancer, they don't know how's the next year of their life gonna unfold. So how do you find the courage not only live and survive, but actually create and be proactive and be a creator in this life, in this world? Sometimes
it's hard. There are days where I'm like, nope. And I know that with my diagnosis and my technical diagnosis, it's a mouthful, stage 4 metastatic triple positive breast cancer. That was the first diagnosis, and stage 4 cancer is not considered curable. So, it's always there, right? Now it might never come back. I mean, it's been almost 10 years, knock on wood, and it has not come back. And the other 2 cancers that I've had have been totally unrelated, but, there is kind of that shadow that is always there. And so, I go back and forth. I mean, like sometimes I think, why should I plan, what's going to happen in my business 10 years from now? I won't be here. Well, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow and not be here.
Yes.
You live in a war zone. Oh my gosh. I mean, and so I think what we have to do is just realize we have today. What can we do for today? We still plan for the future. I do tell people, don't put stuff off. It was really funny. Right before the program, we were joking about where in the world might be a good place right now.
Yeah.
And so on my bucket list, which I have moved way up to not be, let's do this 10 years from now or 20 years from now, maybe this year, probably not this year, but next year, I want to go on a cruise to the Antarctic.
Wow.
I'm going to go see the baby penguins, right? And so, don't put stuff off, folks. Even if you are 100% healthy, and God bless you if you are, but don't put stuff off. Plan for the future. because we all might live to be 100. So we want to, have saved money and done all of those things. But the things that you really want to do them. I also tell people, tell them that you appreciate them. Tell them that you love them. The first time I told a friend of mine that I loved her, she got this, and then she went, I love you too. Right.
Yeah.
It just startled her because that's not what a lot of people do. But even if it's just to say, hey, this is great. I love what we're doing today, whatever it is, go ahead and do that, because we don't know what tomorrow brings.
Compassion is so big in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And I follow the work of Simon Sinek.
Yes.
I don't know if you know who he is.
Oh, yes. What is your why?
Yes, he's such a kind soul, and he's working on a new book about friendship right now. It occurred to him that no one taught us how to be great friends.
Ooh.
And this is something that he shares, that men are really sensitive about exchanging compliments and saying words like you were able to say to each other. You want to be your man and everything. But to his surprise, the person who actually started saying to him, I love you, it was a general of U.S. Army.
Wow.
So
the manliest man there is. Holy schmoly.
The most manly man. And this is something what they do in Army. They bond in the circumstances which make them take care of each other and watch each other. And for me, it's so enlightening and so inspiring that even if the strongest man can say, I love you, and give a hug, this is something that we still have hope, in our society, where we will be able to give each other this support, this much needed support in the times of hardships.
Right. Well, we especially hear it with people who are in combat. They are with their brothers in arms.
Yes.
And yes, we know there are now women there, and that's good. But it really is you're with your family, so that you're protecting each other like you would your own brothers and sisters.
Absolutely. They call each other brother and sister, and this is something also what he shared. It's not intuitive for me. I always felt that I don't want to be sensitive, but now I feel that this is the power, understanding that we are part of something bigger, part of this world, part of this society, and we're a look-alike. And why don't we support each other?
Right.
So this is real. So you're building a community. Can you say? Right. So can you tell me more about the community? So
it's definitely a community. I tell people I'm a cancer warrior. Right. I am in the fight for my life. And so I say that I'm a warrior. Actually, I have it tattooed on my arm. And on our website, we have this saying that says, fate says to the warrior, you cannot withstand the storm. And the warrior responds, I am the storm. Right?
Wow.
But what's even more important is warriors don't go at it alone. They always have their tribe.
Wow.
And, and so the tribe, the community, whatever it is. And so we've got to build that. And that does include our healthcare people. It includes obviously our loved ones, our friends, coworkers, whoever you need to be. And your tribe is going to come and go, right? Just like tribes do. But you need to build those communities. And we do have a Facebook group. And I encourage anyone, whether you're dealing with cancer or not, to join the Facebook group, because we post inspirational sayings. We have a new member who likes to post jokes, because we know how much humor helps.
I hope not healing. Dark humor jokes or them too.
No, they're okay jokes. And we talk about that. Can we poke fun at ourselves? Yes. It's kind of weird though if somebody else pokes fun at us, right? But yeah, you have to build your community, because we don't want to go this alone. Somehow we do sometimes seem to go it alone, and but no, we need to gather our tribe around us, and we need to make sure that they're the right people. I have 3 doctors that I have fired during this process. They were all good
Speaking
doctors.
of taking control, right?
Right. Oh yeah. They were good doctors. They just didn't mesh with me. And I have others like I have a surgeon. I actually have my own surgeon. I've had so many surgeries. I have my own surgeon, right? And I'd walk on fire for him. Now, so would everybody else who knows him. That is just the type of person that he is. But, and my oncologist, same thing. I absolutely love her. I know other people who don't. I mean, and so that's the thing is you get who you need. And sometimes it means that you need to remove some people, right?
Yep.
They might be the people who are going to criticize you. Well, why are you doing this? How come you're doing that? Or just not be as supportive. And it's okay to question people. Well, why are you doing that? How come you chose that? Right? But when it's criticism and it's no. They can go be critical.
It should
somewhere
be constructive,
else.
and it cannot be personal. Criticism cannot be personal, and cannot be destructive.
Right.
So if it opens up a conversation, it's one thing. But if it's just constantly feeding this negativity, you don't need it in your tribe.
Because we got enough. We got enough of that.
Yes. Yeah. And I know this because I'm a recovering drug addict. I know that, without a community, you cannot walk all the steps. And the final step in the healing process as you recover from a drug addiction is, or I think maybe even any type of addiction, is to help, to actually become a counselor for someone.
Yes. And first of all, bless you. And I know it's probably a challenge every day. And
that's why the point that you make about one day really speaks to me. So one day at a time, no tomorrow. Yes, we need to plan our life ahead. We need to plan our business dealings, but this is technical planning. But if you can stay in the moment today, right now, I'm talking to you, I'm having a great time in my life, and that's enough for me now.
Right.
So that's the mindset that it can help us get through all the challenges, but keep on going.
Right. And of course, one of the important things is, as I said, people don't read minds. You have to tell them, especially when you need help, right?
Yes.
And whether it's something little or something big, like, hey, I'm really struggling here. I think one of the strongest things someone can do is to ask for help. But we're not taught to do that, right? We're supposed to be independent. We're supposed to, I've asked people, hey, I need, can you come and just sit with me? I'm lonely. Or can I have you go to the grocery store? It was really funny when I got COVID the first time. Both my husband and I got it. Yay. But we didn't have it real bad. But as part of this process, I've had blood clots in my lungs. And so they were concerned that I would get pneumonia. So they wanted me to have one of those doohickeys that goes on your finger that does your oxygen, right? And the doctor, he actually tells me, well, just go to the pharmacy and buy one. I said, I'm in quarantine. He laughed because we were on a video call. And so I asked my neighbor, hey, would you run to the store and get one of these? I could have ordered it on Amazon, right? And got it the next day. But we need to ask. And sometimes they'll tell us no. And that's perfectly acceptable also. And we don't need to know why they say no. Maybe it's, but yeah, give them the opportunity to help, and people want to help, right?
Yes.
They just need to know how.
This is actually the gift. This is what Simon Sinek also says, that don't you dare take the opportunity from other people to help you, because it's like a big gift that you giving the people, asking for help, showing that you're vulnerable.
Right.
And yes, I understand, and I've been in these situations when I was too open, and I was punished. I was just misplaced at the time, and people who I turned to weren't the people who understood me, right?
So and there's always their problem.
Yes, but that's just a great signal that maybe they shouldn't be in my surroundings.
Right. Yeah. Or maybe just in a different way. And so, but yeah, give them the opportunity. But one of the things that people ask me the most is my friend, my coworker, my spouse has cancer and I don't know what to do. And, one of the things that they will say is just let me know if there's anything you need. Well, my brain can't, my brain is going, oh my God, I got cancer. I'm not going to stop and think, what can they do? So be specific. Can I bring you dinner? Can I do this? Can I do that? I have a friend, she was sharing, she was a caregiver for her husband who had cancer. And she said one day her friends just showed up at the house and she was like, yeah. And they said, we're here to clean. And her first thought was, oh my God. And then she thought, oh, this is great. And now that might not be quite, what you want to do with folks, but, I had people who said, can we come visit on Thursday? Okay. Thursday's not a good day, but can you come on Friday? Or, whatever. And that was when I had something that I could grasp onto, then I could deal with it. And don't forget the other people. I mean, like I had people who said, one of the funniest ones. So we have dogs. And one of the funniest ones was somebody who knows us very well said, you've been in the hospital. Your husband has been dealing with you in the hospital. Do your dogs need to go in for shots or anything? They did.
Wow. They thought for you. They were so kind to actually think it through.
Or, hey, to your kids, can we take them to a movie? Can we take them out to eat? Can we do whatever? Can we come so that your spouse, your caregiver, can go for a walk by themselves?
And what does it give? What does it give people? Can you, like, if you give like this, when no one asks, but that they need it, what do people receive from, like, by forgiving this care to others?
I think it's just, it makes you feel good, right?
Yes.
And even if they tell you no, the fact that you still offered, I think that's good. And so don't worry about, well, they could tell me no. That's okay. But make sure that you actually do it. I had some people who said, hey, we're going to come visit. And I had one person who twice said, I'm going to be there at X time on X day. And so I'd, spiff up as much as I could, and all that. And she never showed up.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
Well, and things happen. Traffic gets bad or things come up. Just let people know. I mean, she just never responded. And so then she's out of my tribe, right?
I think Tony Robbins stated at this point that it's easy to give back when you have a lot of things yourself, when you have everything. Right. Try to give back when you are not in a perfect position, right? Yeah. So I think it's even more powerful to offer your help when you don't have everything covered yourself.
Right. And it can be something little. Maybe it's just, hey, can I talk to you on the phone? Can we do a FaceTime? Can I, whatever it is. Yeah, it's just, it's okay to, it doesn't have to be some big grandiose gesture. I tell people, because people told me, they said, we didn't know what to say. We didn't know what to do. And I told them, I said, Hallmark has cards. I actually still have all of the cards that people sent me when I was sick. And all that meant was they were thinking of me for 30 seconds, but that was okay. And so, or, if I post on Facebook, good day, bad day, whatever, comment, just let us know that you're thinking about us.
I'm fascinated to know how the things that you learned in building the community and being the cancer advocate help you in your business? So you said that first you were a communicator, this is your primary expertise in a way, and then you transitioned to doing this humanitarian work, let's say. But is there something that goes in the opposite direction? Is there something that you learned doing with your project and that you implemented in business?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things is only work with people you like, right? And that's hard. Sometimes, and we've all done it, right? We have
Say
all
no to
had
customers.
clients.
Put money on the table. Leave money on the table.
And it's really hard to say. And sometimes you still have to, right? We have all had the clients where we're like, ugh. But we keep working with them because we need the money. We need whatever it is. But yeah, only work with people you like. Only, and maybe it's not going to work. Then send them on their way. If you can give them a referral to somebody else, that works good too. But, and only do the work that you like. How many times do we hear people, as we're recording this, for me, it's Monday morning, it's Monday afternoon for you. But how many times Monday morning we're like, oh God, I got to get up and work. Okay. We're all going to do that no matter what, every once in a while. We don't want to be doing that every single day. And we don't want to be just counting the hours until Friday afternoon. So do what feeds your passion. Back to Simon Sinek. What is your why? Why are you doing this? And make sure that it aligns with everything in your life.
On this point, do you think the person has only one why, or can the person rediscover a multitude of missions as they go?
I think your why changes sometimes every minute, right?
Yeah.
I think we have the big why. And for many people that is tied to their faith, and some things like that. But, sometimes my why is I got to get through today,
Yes.
But yeah, I think, and it's, as a business consultant, I think one of the things that we get concerned about is, well, we have our business goals and we can't change those business. Well, yes, you can change those business goals.
You can change them. They're arbitrary, basically.
There is nothing that's written in stone. And if it's written in stone or printed up on your wall or whatever, it doesn't have to be, and I think there is, but like I said, I think there's kind of one overarching why. But, then everything else comes from it. I mentioned as we were chatting before, I live in Atlanta. And so last week we had all of the funeral services for President Jimmy Carter.
Yes.
And, and hearing his life story and things like that. And what his why was always to help others. I mean, that was just his why.
Wow.
Now, it didn't always mesh, and there were people who didn't like what he did or how he did it, but that was still his why.
And from that, all the accomplishments, but it's never about the outside world giving him accolades. So he was just giving first.
Oh, yeah. Now, I have seen his Nobel Peace Prize. It is pretty cool.
You have seen it in person?
I have seen it in person. And because we went to Plains, so he lived about 3 hours south of me. In the little bitty town called Plains, Georgia, has a population of about 1,000. Can you imagine? The president of the United States. We just happened to be out kind of driving around in that general area. And I realized it was that day was his 100th birthday. And so I said, oh my gosh, we have to go to Plains. And so we went to Plains and they have the Nobel Peace Prize on display. Because that, to him, he saw it as everyone's and not his, and so, but yeah, I mean, it's fancy. It's pretty cool, but he's pretty little too. But yeah, that was kind of fun to see that and to be there on his 100th birthday. And the way they celebrated, they had a naturalization ceremony for 100 new U.S. citizens. And so that was cool to see that.
Yeah.
And of course he wasn't there, he was still alive, but he wasn't getting out and about. But it was still fun to be in Plains on his birthday.
Let's talk about your podcast. Two? What it's called? Let me give you the name. The business power hour.
Correct.
How long did you start it? And what
I've
is
been
the
doing
focus?
it a long time. Let's see. Over the weekend, I uploaded episode 1035.
Woo!
Yep. So we hit the 1,000 mark back in September. I do 2 a week, and started actually as a live radio program in Denver. I went into a radio station and had guests that came in. So that was kind of fun. And then I moved from Denver to Atlanta, and we started doing it virtually. And, just like you and I are doing, and which works out so great, right? It's always fun to try and do something live, but it doesn't always work well. So being able to
were you employed by a radio?
No, I paid them.
You paid them to use it.
I paid them. So basically, I was buying a half-hour ad spot, and originally, so that would have been 2010, I think, is when we started it. Maybe 2011. We talked about social media, because that was social media for business, because that was when really that all got started. We'd had LinkedIn for a while, and Facebook kind of diddle-daddled around, but then they started having Facebook business pages, and, how could we use LinkedIn as a professional tool, all these various things, and then transitioned a couple of years after that, because there's only so much you can talk about with social media, to just business. And I love it. I'd love to have you on as a guest. I think that would be fascinating. And I talk about, business topics, but, I tell people, it's my podcast. I can talk about anything I want. So we've had a variety of guests on all of February. We're going to focus on AI. And of course, the funny thing about focusing on that for all of February is by March, it could be out of date with that topic. But, it's still going to be fun. But I love it. I get to talk to cool people from around the world.
Yeah. That's the magic sauce that I also love.
Yeah. And people ask me, why don't you monetize it? I could, but I don't want to. It's more, and the important thing is I learn something every single time. And so I figure my listeners and my viewers are too. Even when it's a topic that I'm thinking, like sales, I'm not really, or financial, but I still learn stuff. And every one of my guests has made it interesting. I always like knowing about their backstory, how'd they get to where they are today, which I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's silly. It's what made them who they are. So we have to know that. But yeah, I have a ton of fun doing it, and I just really enjoy it.
I think that's why we connect so easily, because both you and I, we are, in our core, we are communicators and we are connectors. We want just to connect and help others to connect, right? There is just something about
it is.
that.
It's how can we connect people?
Yes. First of all, 2024 just rounded up. Tell me what probably was one of the biggest revelations for you from 2024 in the business and in personal context, and what will be, even though we said we were just talking that planning might be in vain thing, but still, is there maybe an operating word for you for 2025, something that you will focus on 25? So basically the question is 2024 may take takeaways and for the focus for 2025.
2024 was great. Added new things to my business, my personal life, all sorts of things. My husband retired. This is so bizarre, right? I'm not that old, and I'm actually older than he is. But he was able to, here in the States, he took early retirement. And so being able to plan and do, some things that we couldn't do because he had a job that, he'd only take X number of days off.
You can travel now
I know. Something. We lost my mother in March, and it was very sudden. I mean, she was fine one day and the next day she wasn't.
Condolences.
But part of why we're going to travel is from the money that I inherited from her.
Wow.
And so that will be her legacy. one of the most fun things that I'm looking forward to in 2025 is she had her younger sister was her primary caregiver, and then my uncle. So my aunt and my uncle, they lived a half a block from my mother, and so they were her primary caregivers, and so we are taking them on a cruise.
Wow.
The end of May, the first part of June, to kind of pay them back, right, for everything that they did. And we are it's going to be to Alaska. It's what they call a small boat cruise. So not the big 3,000 people. This one will have like 200 people. And so you get to know everybody on the boat. We've done these obviously several times. And I'm just so looking forward to that.
You can record so many podcasts while you're there.
Yes, I know, and, but so 2025, I think is, it's just going to be great. I always look forward to it. Obviously, here in the United States, there's some political upheaval, and who knows what's going to happen. But there always is. It's like whatever. And so, but yeah, I just see it as everything's getting better and better. So I want to know from you.
Oh,
what are tell me your 2024 and 2025 thoughts.
I just finished my article about the 2024, what I learned from business and personal perspectives. Business, I think that keeping customers happy, even though existing customers happy, even though it seems obvious, but until it's not. While you are chasing for new customers, don't ever forget that you have the business.
I love it.
Like mine, we're B2B, where personal relationships really matter. So for me, just making sure your customers are happy, go an extra mile for them, and give back. Try to give back. Every single time when there is something happening. I learned that the hit of dopamine is better when it's a surprise and it's totally unexpected. So when I'm doing my show and someone knocks on door and says, "Hey, can you to speak somewhere?" Just like you said, that maybe I can be a guest on your podcast, or someone asks for video production services from my company. It's it's like an icing on the cake. So keep giving. And for 2025, I think I want to meditate more. I tried to doing breathing exercises, but now it seems like I'm really getting to a point when I kind of getting it. I understand the power of it. So I want to meditate more in 2025 and be in the present moment. That's what we talked about. Yeah. Thank you for asking, Deb. You are an inspiration. You're a blessing. And I'm super thankful that we have people like you in our world, Deb.
Well, thank you. And you are incredible. I mean, I just can't get over the fact that we're talking about this while your country is literally at war. Yeah. And you are just still doing business. I will be honest. I did have another guest from the Ukraine on my podcast a year or so ago, and he told me that he had to keep working. Yeah. He just had to. Yeah. And I mean, that's just, I think that's, whether we've got a cancer diagnosis, whether we're in a country that is having major issues, we just have to keep going. I mean, we owe it to us and we owe it to everyone else.
Absolutely. To remain the sense of normality. So thank you so much, Dev. And you guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Thank you, Deb, one more time.
Thank you. I'm very honored.
You're looking for a quality video production provider? Look no further. My name is Sergey and I own Beverly Production. We are a video production agency from Ukraine. We help entrepreneurs to create credible online, offline podcasts and clips that drive interest, to promote your podcast. As a podcaster myself, I early realized that there are not that many podcasts that put an emphasis on quality and creativity, just making your videos look really, really cool. That's why we mix our videos up with different visual aids,
sound effects, flashy transitions. We do dynamic switching and other cool creative things that just set apart your podcast from your competition. You can check our samples on the website, and we also help people to post the videos. So we take over YouTube management, and we can also run TikTok and LinkedIn for you. So if you're interested in something of this kind, don't hesitate to book a call with me. The contacts are available on the website. Thanks a lot.